dealers and vendors, I think alike at DMSE, made some really interesting discoveries about what type of experience consumers are looking for at the dealership level. Can you share some of what stood out to you from that?
Sure. A2Z Sync, who's I would say a connected retailing provider, hired, I think they're called YouGov, that's a survey tool. And they really dug in and asked the right questions. I think CSI scores hide the fact that most consumers are not happy with the overall sales experience. And so no surprise, really respect the time they did online, have a consistent experience online and in store, and save them time, right? So what the feedback from digital retailing discussions at DMSC were something like this. Digital retailing, as we know it now, isn't working. Many dealers are using it as a lead capture tool, and then just following their old sales process. OEMs, like Stellantis, are forcing a digital retailing tool on dealer website that they don't even like, that has half the performance of existing solutions that they're already using, and yet this is supposed to help the consumer experience. The more and more I thought about it, I had a great conversation with Chip Perry, and he pulled me over and he said, "Brian, I got an idea. Maybe we're trying to change too much all at once. Their platform is focused on one person selling." He said, we may be forcing dealers, even in our own model, to go too far. And I said, "Well, what are you thinking?" He says, "We need a bridge to get dealers from where they are today into a forward movement that's closer to what consumers want." And I said, "Well, what do you think that is?" And he says, "I think the core is making sure that whatever is presented online is picked up at the store." And he says, "We need to connect the online and in-store experience." I thought more and more about it, and I'm like, isn't that what we're doing? And then it hit me, just like you said, the more I think about it, the less we know. I'm going through some new client group consulting projects where, okay, this is the digital retailing tool and we're using VIN desking. And I'm like, why are we using VIN desking? Because that's not the tool that's on. Well, that's what the store managers want. I said, well, it's a completely different interface experience, different calc engine. Yeah, but that's what they want. And it hit me that if we're going to transform the retail experience, Jim Farley, and we'll talk about that letter later, has a vision that consumers are going to buy 100% of their EV vehicles online without a dealer, which is fantasy. But I understand what he's trying to get at is that, hey, consumers just want to know the affordability of their vehicle, what their trade is worth. And so I thought about it as like, maybe the next step is to challenge the industry. Instead of going to digital retailing, which implies like 100% of the sales are online, right, why don't we just try to create a connected retailing experience? Like you see something on Best Buy, it's priced a certain way. When you walk into the store, the price isn't changed. It's the same price. So that was the article that I was inspired from, because if we look at the success of OEM managed digital retailing programs, they have not succeeded after 5 years to really transform the retail sales experience.